Managing in 2019, the proactive approach, addressing a workforce with growing self-agency and changing attitudes and expectations. This article, titled A Look Back to Look Ahead and written by Sue-Ann Nielsen, can be found on the HR Canadian Reporter website at www.hrreporter.com. This article is about the power of social media to mobilize employees to act against direct and systematic discrimination in the workforce. It highlights the importance of equity and inclusion and states the researched organizational opportunities and benefits that come along with promoting mental health in the workplace. We will use these points in this article to discuss our responsibility as HR professionals in a rapidly changing, technologically driven climate, which requires us to extend beyond our comfort zones to model progressive leadership and evolve toward these modern social demands. Our generation has witnessed an incredible evolution as we become more connected and socially aware citizens. The power of the internet has given us unlimited access to infinite resources and has created the Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook generations, given a voice to the LGBT communities, and allowed us to connect globally in ways we could have never before imagined. With this abundance of rich information comes a greater understanding of ourselves, our neighbors, our political affiliations, and our similarities and differences. It was through social media that I myself grew and formed into the person I am today, an intersectional feminist. It was through the power of the internet that I became awakened to my own oppression and the oppressions of others. It's no surprise that each successive generation is becoming more socially aware, holding themselves and others to higher standards of personal conduct. No longer is racism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, ableism, transphobia, or right-wing conservatism tolerated. As we become more socially aware, our expectations of how we want to be treated are evolving too. As Nielsen so eloquently puts it in the article, we must create psychologically healthy workplaces and ensure that harassment, bullying, and jerk bosses aren't tolerated. Health and dental benefits, paid vacation time, sick days, flexibility, zero harassment workplaces, women empowerment, these are not just qualities that people desire in a workplace, they are now qualities they demand and expect. And every time someone else rises up to challenge the system, to call out the abuser, to be the whistleblower, it inspires someone else and has a domino effect. Through rapid e-communication, instantaneous sharing of information, and globalization, worker attitudes are evolving, and we are seeing it more often in mainstream media now than ever before. We are in a paradigm shift in how we think and behave in the workplace, and young people are not taking their time in asserting themselves in their growing self-advocacy through enormous online social movements. The creation of the Me Too movement, the 2018 nationwide Google walkout, the numerous sexual assault allegations filed against celebrities and politicians. The spotlight is on business right now, and people are feeling the heat. We will talk about how to be proactive in this ever-changing environment, but first, let's look at why equity and inclusion are important to begin with. Through rapid e-communication, instantaneous sharing of information, and globalization, worker attitudes are evolving, and we are seeing it more often in mainstream media now than ever before. We are in a paradigm shift in how we think and behave in the workplace, and young people are not taking their time in asserting themselves and their growing self-advocacy through enormous online social movements. The creation of the Me Too movement, the 2018 nationwide Google walkout, the numerous sexual assault allegations filed against celebrities and politicians, the spotlight is on business ethics right now, and people are feeling the heat. We will talk about how to be proactive in this ever-changing environment, but first, let's look at why equity and inclusion are important to begin with. Equitable work teams are diverse work teams, or work teams made up of people of different gender identities, cultural and ethnic backgrounds, socioeconomic status, and religious or political beliefs. When we talk about equity in the workplace, we are referring to giving everyone an equal chance at participating in all levels of the organization, supported in the dismantling of any systematic, sociocultural, or language barriers. Diverse teams offer many benefits that much surpass the risks and costs associated with building your diverse workforce. It may take some more time, care, and investment to initiate diversity management. However, research shows that the benefits far outweigh the costs. Diverse groups have high cohesiveness, a wider range of skill sets and perspectives, are creative problem solvers, and allow for a broader candidate base. This article quoted Morneau-Charpel's report, Human Resources Trends for 2019, stating that improving mental health of employees is one of the top 5 priorities in the coming year at 48%, and inched above the physical health and wellness of the employees at 47%. When employees' unique identities are embraced and empowered, they can become the best versions of themselves. Conversely, when there is discrimination, either direct or systematic, that singles out someone for being of a different faith, socioeconomic class, race, or gender identity, that can increase their workplace stress and have significant impacts on their mental health and well-being. Prolonged stress and anxiety due to the mistreatment of the diverse workforce increases turnover and absenteeism, lowers retention, creates a hostile work environment, and doesn't foster the kind of healthy professional relationships that are needed in order for a workforce to thrive. As an HR manager, a commitment to employee health and well-being is a commitment to organizational well-being, as each piece of a well-oiled machine must be in its best shape to run smoothly, efficiently, and effectively. Pictured are some statistics from the Stat Canada website relating to mental health in the Canadian workplace. Take note that though 500,000 workers a week miss work due to mental illness, still 77% of employees are afraid to talk to their boss about their challenges. And as indicated by the annual $51 billion a year that mental health issues cost the economy, it's clearly worthwhile for employees and HR managers to invest significant time and care into mental health initiatives. So how do we, as HR professionals, navigate this new information-rich terrain? First and most importantly is through education. We must start with ourselves if we want to influence real change. Educate ourselves on our own biases, prejudices, and assumptions. Like I illustrated in the comic, it needs to start with each individual sitting with their discomfort and doing some introspection and emotional work to push through those biases and cognitive blocks. I can tell you from experience, educating yourself on something that makes you uncomfortable does help alleviate that discomfort. It frees you from the constraints of traditionalist thinking and helps you to have a more well-rounded, socially aware perspective. It allows you to humanize individuals who may otherwise seem alien or obscure to you and your previously held notions. Listen to podcasts by queer and trans youth, read Wikipedia articles, and other online educational resources. Attend a community gathering at a local mosque. Spend some time in the homeless shelters storytelling with some people facing poverty. Put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable with an open mind and heart. That is how you can personally be a better, more well-rounded human, and that will translate into your professional life and how you treat people. Then, there are some other really tangible steps you can take professionally to be proactive in this new era, to establish your organization as an inclusive, diverse, equitable workplace where employees enthusiastically want to show up and do their best every day. This builds strong professional relationships, which contributes to organizational commitment, retention, job satisfaction, performance, and beyond. The icons here are hyperlinked to helpful resources to get you started. I encourage you to take some time to check them out. Examine your hiring practices. Ensure that the recruitment and selection managers have ample training in inclusive interview practices. Set a company mandate to hire a large portion of employees that fall into a marginalized group: women, indigenous people, people with disabilities, transgender people, formerly incarcerated people, just to name a few. Ensure your organization has accessible and highly publicized reporting systems in place for complaints. Create a formal zero-tolerance harassment policy and appoint a human rights committee to oversee the implementation of the policy. Ensure support systems are in place for employees who do report. Integrate these principles into the core of your organizational culture by reiterating these policies at each staff meeting, via visual communication, such as posters or signage, or by listening and responding compassionately and promptly. Alongside strong workplace values surrounding equity and inclusion comes employee supports in the form of benefits. Benefits are a really powerful way to influence employees' job satisfaction, cognitive well-being, and overall quality of life. Worker productivity, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment are all influenced by the perceptions of strong supports and benefit packages. One way organizations can promote healthy attitudes around the workplace, be progressive in their leadership, and engage in building a strong team of dedicated employees is through indirect benefits. These benefits, though they are growing to be almost 50% of employer payroll expenses, do save organizations countless costs related to absenteeism, turnover rates, productivity, motivation, and organizational commitment, and they contribute to a healthy and positive organizational culture. Benefits that make a real difference to those who need it most, for instance, those who have been victimized by past inequity or systematic discrimination, are progressive, flexible family benefits. Introducing family-friendly HR management and offering a variety of individualized scheduling opportunities, flex time, job sharing, or telecommuting encourages employees to take advantage of the work-life balance programs and to take time off work to care for children or family during illness or emergency. Foster an environment which encourages open communication about work-life needs, and have management receive training around healthy work-life practices. Offer social services such as group counseling and employee conflict resolution. Have leave benefit structures in place, offering opportunities for employees to access leave and support for emergencies, bereavement, birth, adoption, family, funeral, medical or dental, appointments, maternity or parental leave, sick leave, and vacation time. Customizable benefits will make the most impact and provide the most relief to people who do face added stress, mental health issues, or systematic barriers to equity in the workplace. Of course, not all organizations will have the ability to do all of these things in a large capacity, but always strive to do your best with what you have and always have a creative problem-solving mentality. Sometimes there are not so obvious solutions to obstacles that often get overlooked. Dare to be different.